All right, we should be live. Hello, hello. Good day. 50, nice to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, brother. He will start the game at left back? What the fuck is that? What on earth? Good morning, good day, good afternoon. Welcome. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. How are we all today? Excited? Excited? I'm happy that there's Grimsby England been around since Reddit days. Hughes fans. Nice, nice. Teams are coming out. Toby Collier will be starting at left back. Why no Amass? I don't know, but Toby Collier at left back. How are we all today? I didn't want to do the vote thing because obviously we're going to be rotating pretty big, so that wouldn't really work for our usual thing we do for this game. We're not going to be rotating, but it's essentially we're not, it's not the normal. Yeah, that is a surprise. One second. That is a that's a good one. That is so funny. I honestly didn't expect that. I honestly did not expect that. Just waiting for everybody. It's the team's not fully out yet. There's just a couple of things. Here from Ten Hag's Reds. Good source. Ten Hag Ball _ on Twitter. Yeah. These are some early leaks, early team leaks. But yeah, Collier at left back. I did not expect that. We'll get the full team in a minute. If I get things while I'm sitting on here, I will tell you as well. Yeah. But that was a little unexpected. Now Dallo will probably start. He always plays, He always plays, doesn't he? And he's fit. He's a very fit player, so fair play to him for that. I don't want to say anything before some other people post things because I don't always have permission, when it's not necessarily always my information. So yeah, how interesting. All right. No Amass in a squad. I don't know. I mean, look, I hadn't really heard that, if we've been following that Amass was going to be that big of a player this year. So I'm not totally surprised. I'd hoped he would, but I'm not surprised that he's not. I hoped he would, but I'm not surprised that he's not. I'm not, as I said many, many times earlier through summer and all of that we did not really think he would be like, yeah, we did not really think he would be that important, I guess. So this year, yeah, it's not a surprise. It's a bit weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit weird, but it's not a surprise. No, Collier is at left back. That is a valid leak. That is a valid leak. Yeah, that is a valid. We're probably Amrabat left back shipped into Carabao. Yeah, I mean that was like Amrabat's like good game, right? That was like his one good game that he had. That was actually pretty good. Like really good, just out of the blue. It was kind of surprising. But, you know, I mean, look, it's Barnsley, so whatever, right? I would like to see Amass, but, you know, it's Barnsley. It just means that our left back is certainly not getting any support. I mean, our left winger is once again just not getting any support. I mean, let's be real for a minute. Our left winger is not going to be getting support. I expect that we'll get Ugarte to start. He's fit, so there's no reason he shouldn't start in a game like this. He should be playing within the what do you call it? You know, to get familiarity with the team. So I would expect Ugarte starts. That would make the most sense. Up front, Garnacho should get a game. I would be surprised if Garnacho doesn't get a start. Bruno Kobbie Mainoo should get a rest. I think Maguire should start. I'd like to see Lissandro get a rest. He's been not so great recently, and I think that Maguire probably could play. Yeah, Collier was pretty wide left. He was when he came on. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Why no Amass? Because he's just not that he's not that vital, you know. He's not viewed as ready. I mean, that was the view, you know, physically. I think for the most part, he's not viewed as ready. He's played with the under-21s mostly. I think he's training with the under-21s. Yeah, so interesting stuff. That. Yeah, Maguire up front. Yeah, that'd be nice. Casemiro and Ugarte in the midfield, I think would be nice. I think it'd be nice to see that defensively. I'm not, you know, it has its positives. It could free up Casemiro to be a bit more aggressive, like in and out of possession. I think that them together, you get less of the risks of Casemiro. If if Bruno and Kobbie starts, me and James are jumping down. Yeah, Ugarte and Casemiro, I think would be good. I think that would be good. Xerxes, I could see playing still because Højlund will be back soon. I don't think Xerxes is going to be overplayed. I think that more forming relationships with him and the other forwards is good for what he brings to the table. I think that's important. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully that would help. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, Garnacho, Antony, Rashford. Oh man, Rashford back on. Rashford, Garnacho, and Antony is the front three. So Rashford back on striker shifts. All right, fair enough. Rashford back on striker shifts. Yeah. Well, he's gonna use them like a bar of soap. Ten Hag is, you know that, right? He's gonna use them like a bar of soap. Rashford does not get rest, but to be fair, he did not play during the international break. So, and he's very fit. Yeah, Rashford back on striker shifts. He's very fit. He didn't play over the international break. Xerxes did. So, from a minute standpoint, I actually don't. It's not really a big deal. Antony, you know, the unfortunate part of rotating is that Antony gets to play. But with all the talk and the constant posting and stuff, you kind of figured he was actually going to get a start after everything, right? But yeah, we will see how he performs. Yeah, I mean, you knew Garnacho was going to get in the team, but yikes! All right, which was good. He needs to play. He needed to play. But yeah, Rashford up front is not the best for him. But it's Barnsley. Yeah, I mean, look, Barnsley's probably Antony's level. I think, what was it, Newport he scored last year. So, you know, maybe he'll get in, you know, get something out of this game for sure. You know, I think a lot of people hoped after the Newport game last year that he would kick on. He didn't. You know, he didn't, unfortunately. And, you know, and so I've kind of given up hope, honestly, because he could do well today, and then will he kick on from it? Probably not. Yeah. Rashford scored in the last game. Garnacho scored in the last game. Usually, Ten Hag likes to keep that going. But not heavy rotation. Not heavy rotation here, right? I mean, Garnacho, though, did need a start, so that's good. The leak so far, Collier at left back. Collier at left back, Garnacho left wing, Rashford up front, Anthony right wing. That would be what we've got so far on the team. Yeah. So yeah. I don't like putting Rashford at striker though. But it's Barnsley. It's Barnsley, so we should be all right. We should be all right. Look, there's people who have good Collier at left back. Yes, sir. Collier at left back. So here, I'll do this. I don't actually think he's in this even, unfortunately. Hold on one sec. Who? Croatian. We were scouting some Croatians I think Phil and I talked about this. Another young attacking midfielder. Another young attacking midfielder, by the way. But here, I'll pull that. I'm going to switch to some other stuff in a minute once we get through the team. I will switch to some other things we want to talk about on this live. We'll talk about Nypan. We're going to talk about, some other targets here shortly. We will talk about some other targets here shortly. And there's a lot more stuff to talk about. I want to talk about the team, talk about the targets. Just want to get through the lineup coming out here and kind of build it out as we go, right? Here, this is what's out so far. I can't add Collier because he's not, he's not in here. So, it's like this, but it's Collier. Okay? This is what we have, right? That's what we've got. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, so that's what's been leaked so far. It's fine. Look, it's Barnsley. We've got some days. We want to keep. I know that Ten Hag wants to keep Rashford going. One of the things that Ten Hag views heavily, one of the ways that he views heavily on his management, and one of the things he's reliant on, is he's very much reliant on players, especially in the forward line, to start scoring goals for him and creating. He needs Rashford to score. He does. Ten Hag is definitely a bit, maybe too reliant on at times, but is a little bit reliant on, some players to get something out of nothing, to a little bit of, I don't want to get into the individual brilliance thing because I think all managers do, frankly. But he does need that. He needs Rashford to get going. Rashford scored most of the goals in his first season when we were doing well. He needs that. He recognizes that. That's why he plays. It's kind of that simple. I think people complicate it. But Ten Hag needs him. CB... I think that there's changes in the center backs. I think we're gonna get Maguire in here, and maybe Evans. So I think we're gonna. I mean, it's decent rotation. Xerxes rest, Ahmad rest, Mazraoui rest. That's 3 out of the 4 being rotated already. I think Rashford is fine. I think we're gonna have changes at center back, and then when does the team come out? Is it in 1 minute or is it in 15 minutes? I actually don't remember because they moved it to 75 minutes. Here, I'm gonna wait. That's not Pletty goal. That's not Pletty goal. That's Patrick Berger, which is even better actually. It should be now because they moved it to 75 minutes, right? For in England. Yeah, I mean, look, Rashford playing up front may not be bad right now. It just depends what we play behind him, I think, too. I'm hoping for Ugarte and Casemiro. That would be good, in my opinion. Let's see. Ugarte, Casemiro, and Eriksson. Are you sure it's supposed to be now? Are you sure it's supposed to be now? 75 minutes. Maguire Evans. Yeah, Maguire Evans, right? That's what I was thinking we were about to get. Maguire and Evans, right? That's what I was thinking we were about to get. Yeah. Maguire and Evans. Have they posted? Why do I never? I can never. Yeah, Ugarte, Casemiro. There's no lineup though. Where are you guys getting this all from? Because there's not a lot of actually good sources, and there's people who post shit that I've seen your messages on them, but they've not been 100% accurate, and so I'm not going to put them up there because they've not been 100% accurate. And they may be right. I'm just saying they're not. Those people you're talking about have not been 100% accurate. There's like 2 people that I trust on lineups because everybody else has gotten things wrong multiple times. There's like 2 people on there that I trust, and one of them is Ten Hag Ball, because he's always correct, and I know, and I speak to him regularly. I know his info is good. But yeah, so I think we'll find out. It's 1 hour before. Okay, so we've got a few minutes. So let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about a few other things in the meantime, and then we'll come back to the lineups because there's going to be more coming out. But yes. So one of the things I do want to talk about is Nypan, right? Because a few Fridays ago or Thursday, I put out this information about United looking at younger players, and one of the positions that they're looking at strongly in the midfield is this more like younger attacking midfielders. If you think about this long-term potential, Bruno replacement or shorter-term Eriksson replacement, as Eriksson will likely depart next summer, getting someone young in that can become an attacking midfielder type of player, a creative midfielder, is a priority, is something that they're looking at. But they want a younger player in there, right? They want somebody who can develop into that role, because we still have Bruno, and we're going to have Bruno for a few more years. And I'm not sure that they're convinced we have that anywhere else to the quality that we need. So we've been looking at a lot of players, looking at a lot of potential signings, looking at a lot of them, and one of them is Nypan. And of course, Nypan is someone we played against Rosenborg in the preseason. They've been watching him. As I said before, he's one to watch. And the story came out this week, yesterday, right, that United were scouting him in the last game. They're going to keep an eye on him. They want to see how he develops. They want to see how he goes. Remember, their season runs January to December. It runs through a normal year. It runs through a normal 12-month calendar year rather than the other way. And so, potentially one for January. Now, even if that were the case, it's more likely if we were to go for someone like Nypan that he would stay there for another year. And it would stay there for another year, and then that means he could potentially join in January 2026, so halfway through. So that's one possibility. Maybe he would join sooner, but it's something to watch. They want to see how he progresses through this year, see where he's at, and definitely approach that. So keep that one in mind. There's other names. Pafundi, yes, we've talked about him. He's at Lausanne. What was the other name? Mastantuono, we've talked about him. There's another one in England, not in England, but in Europe. But this is an interesting one because this name, has just kind of come out, right, is Martin Baturina. And I've seen it from PJ Berger and such as well. Well, last year, Phil and I were talking about this, but they were looking in Croatia and scouting a bit and all of that. And attack, he's a midfielder. He's another young attacking midfielder, right? And he's another young attacking midfielder. So I don't know anything about him, but obviously somebody that United are maybe keeping an eye on, according to some of these other sources and people out there. So someone that is worth watching, someone, I don't know anything about him. I don't pretend to know too much about a lot of these younger players that I've not watched. But obviously, really high ranking in passing, carrying, all of that. I've seen, you see, even, yeah, Football Manager beast. Okay, cool. Well, yeah. So these are, but this is a profile that I would very much keep in mind. These young attacking midfielder types, as someone that United could look for in the future, and definitely I would bear that in mind. Yeah, it's just something to watch for sure, and it's definitely proving to be a profile that United are interested in, that United are looking at. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, it's gonna be Evans and Maguire. It's gonna be Evans and Maguire. It is. It's gonna be Evans and Maguire in the back. I'm just building this team out here, but it's gonna be Evans and Maguire in the back. Yeah. So, yeah, Wonder Kids and Football Manager. I mean, that's cool. Maybe Football Manager knows their stuff. Young left backs, we know that. Yeah, I mostly wanted to talk about the Nypan thing because it's something that obviously just came out, right? That's just being talked about now. The scouting and all of that, following up on what we were hearing for before, and so it makes sense they're keeping an eye on him. And that one's an interesting one because it may be a bit more of a January thing. You know what I mean? Like in January, he, because of how his year runs, that might be more of a time to recognize it. Collier looks a lot like Luke Shaw. He really does, doesn't he? Incredible stuff, right? The other thing that I wanted to talk through here is, like how United are doing so far this year, because I wanted to get your opinions. I'm still very mixed. I'm still very, very mixed as of now in terms of negatives and positives after the weekend. Today, it's an easy game, so it's against a lower league team, so it's a little bit hard to measure. Like, if it goes badly, it's a really bad sign. If it goes well, it doesn't help you that much, so you just have to kind of dominate the game, right? Like, you have to do really, really well. You just have to do really, really well. And but it's a mixed bag, and I've seen a lot of stats going around that are probably a little bit misleading, but I wanted to talk about a couple of interesting things, right? Like when you look at the expected goals, we're in fifth, right? That's okay. Okay, bear in mind that is just okay. I know that it's an improvement, but when we judge this season, I think personally it's not compared to last season, right? It should be compared to where we should be, or where were we, 21-22, for example, just to use a measure here. And yeah, we were in sixth that year, right? Is that where we ended up finishing? Was it 21-22 I'm talking about? 23, these were, oh, no, that was our bad, okay, that was our bad season. That was the season Ollie got sacked. All right, so we were fourth that year. We finished second in expected goals against. We were also fourth. That's where we kind of ended under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where things fell apart. We should be better than that, right? And so fifth is okay, but we need to be, I think we've really got to get into the top four. Hey, Tubby, thank you for the donation. We haven't seen you in the last few ones donating, right? But I think that if our goal is top four, and I think for all of us, that's kind of the expectation, is that we get top four, then that's where we need to aim to be in these numbers. Goals against is bad. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10th. So we're scoring a little bit more. We're doing a little bit more, but we are also conceding more, not scoring more, but creating more chances. We're also conceding more. And that's way too low still. That's way too low still. Yes, our finishing should be better. It's low. It's not the lowest in the league. Liverpool have a worst ratio on XG, as do Bournemouth, as do Southampton. They've only scored 1 on 5 expected goals. Ours is not the worst conversion. But we need to do better. We need to do better, for sure. We're also conceding too many chances. You know, those are things that you know, and yeah. So we need to do better there. We need to just improve into these areas. We need to improve in these areas. Been busy exploring mysteries of the universe. Well, thank you for coming back to donate. The other thing I want to point out, and I think this is real interesting. This is the thing that means a lot to me because I want to share this. I want to look at this. If you look at our expected goal differential, right? This is the how many you create versus how many you're conceding. This is what it is at different states of the game, and this is the problem, right? You start the game even. When we start the games even, we're bad. We're basically even. We concede as much as we create at that 0 without a goal. And when we go up a goal, if you look, when we go up more than one goal, 55 minutes we allow to 0, and it improves dramatically. So when we're winning, when we're doing well, when we get ahead, we can, you know, speed up. We slow the game down, we control it better, and we prevent more chances. You can see that. These are, you know, there's not a huge sample size. When we're, part of the issue as well is that when we're losing by more than one, which is these minutes against Liverpool, it makes things look a little bit better, but you know, once we were going down a goal, we went really poorly too. These are small samples, but I think one of the things we saw against Southampton that was good is when we got the lead, we controlled the game really well. But when we didn't have the lead, it was kind of bad. Until we got a goal, it was bad. And that's been a theme for, I think, quite a long time, that we're better once we score. And the more we score, it can snowball a little bit, but when the game isn't suiting us, we're pretty bad. And when it's even, we're bad. And I think a big part of that is rushing things too much. You know, we rush so much. And against Southampton, we definitely slowed the game down a little bit. All right. What else is just the team is about to come out here. The full team. That's what I've got here. But yeah, so when we, I think that's the biggest thing I like to see. You know, you can see that when the game is even, when we're trying to get a goal, we're bad. We just are. We rush. We concede a ton of chances when we're trying to get a goal. Once we're winning, we perform better. And I think it's been that way for a long time. Eriksen, Ugarte, Casemiro would be very nice. More rest for Bruno. More minutes getting Ugarte into the team. I think that's what it will be as well. I think Dallo will start on the right. This is an interesting team. But yes, we should be aiming to score first, but I think that's one way to take away from it. Of course, you want to aim to score first, but it's how we try to score first and we create chances, but we also concede a lot of chances. And that makes it a 50-50 game. We want to slow the game down and control it. We want to concede a lot fewer chances at 0-0, right? Or at 1-1, right? Like it was against Brighton. We were conceding as much as we were gaining chances against Brighton. That's not good. That's not what we want to see. When it's even, we need to suffocate teams when we're when we're chasing a goal. You know, suffocate them the way that we used to, the way that you see the good teams do it, where when they need a goal, they just push them further and further in. You really want them to slow it down. And if you look against Southampton, yeah, and you can't always manage to score first when you come back. You're right. But now watch City if they're down a goal. What do they not do? They don't resort to long ball. They don't resort to going fast. They don't resort to, we have to score immediately, so let's just rush. They still do the same thing. They build up, they control, they get possession in the opposition half, and they start making chance after chance after chance after chance, right? And then they win. And they'll break through and win, and then they'll break through again and win. And they score the same way. They don't let the game state dictate the way that they're playing so much like we very often do. That's something that we really need to improve upon, because we've been bad about that, where when we're chasing the goal, we let the game go out of control. And we make it into basketball like that's how we need to do it. Yeah, so it is Ugarte, Yeah, as expected. Hey, Bayindir gets a start, finally. Confirmed. It's finally time for Altair to get into the team. Yeah, nice team. This is actually pretty heavily rotated, but I think this shows you our squad depth is actually not bad. I mean, this ain't bad, is it? When you look at this team, this isn't bad. This is two starters from last game, three starters from last game. It's a strong team. That's good depth. Right? That's a pretty strong team. We still have Hoyland, Mount, Yoro, and Lindelof. Yeah, and Shaw. That's not bad. To be Goat and Niam alive. I knew you'd like that. Yeah, I mean, this is a strong team. Now, now of course, you would probably have Ugarte starting soon, right? But otherwise, this is a strong team. I'm happy that we're actually rotating the goalkeepers for once. Yeah, I'm happy that we are actually rotating goalkeepers for once. That is, Bayindir needs to get some games. Yeah, Bayindir needs to get. Oh no, I know Shaw's not there. I'm saying that we've got 5 missing players, and this is still our depth. That's pretty good. Anthony's at false 9. You sure? Casemiro at center back. No, Collier's left back. I mean, that's what he is. I mean, we won't know until they go into the game, you know. All right, Ugarte gets his start. Very excited about that. I think let's see how this goes. I mean, this is I'm interested. I'm interested to see. This is a decent team. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Anthony could play at the false 9. He's not two-footed enough for me though. Like, I don't think he has the ball control. I don't think he has the ball control to play false 9. You know, like, oh, he said could be is an idea. Yeah, he's not. His one-footedness is so strong that I don't see any way he plays off of the outside, off of the right. Manuel Ustarte, very nice. I like that. But yeah, I like this midfield. I think this is better than our midfield usually. And that's not insulting Kabi. It's just, I think this is a good balance because Ugarte will cover ground. That's going to let Casemiro eat up space, get around, be more aggressive. Be more aggressive. You say it's shocking? You think this team is shocking against Barnsley? This is a good team. I mean, you know, you have a few weak spots, but it's a good team. We need the goals, you know, I think we've got enough. I think between Rashford and Garnacho, we've got enough. Casemiro eating, man. Yeah, he's going to eat. He's going to eat. He's going to eat today, and he's going to eat in a good way. He's going to eat the way we want him to eat. Yeah. Yeah. No. He's going to eat. Yeah, Collier's starting at fullback, yeah. Lindelof would play it at left back. Yes, correct. If Lindelof was healthy, he'd be playing at left back. If we had Yoro, then he'd probably be in the team or someone else would be, and Evans might be at left back. There's other things, you know. There's other things that would happen. But yeah, you know, one of the other things I wanted to mention, because I saw a lot that was made of this, is, you know, just in how we play and all of that while I'm still live, here. But this is interesting. I mean, look, this is an interesting team. I'm not down on this in the slightest. I think it's a very interesting team, and it's Barnsley, and I think that either way, I actually quite like the midfield. I'm not sad at all about the midfield. I think it's pretty good. The app doesn't ever get it right, does it? Because there's people are saying that Collier's a left back, other journalists and people. A report just look. There's gonna be. Here's the thing on that stuff about watching at Salzburg, like that thing said from Michel, from Christopher Michel, I think is his name, right? Michel, I don't know. There's lots of teams scouting, and at this stage in the season, we're gonna scout a lot of players. I'm not gonna know all of them. There's probably hundreds, quite honestly, hundreds. But we're gonna watch a lot of players, and there's some that I know about that have been previously discussed, and all of that. Yeah, I mean, Rashford at striker, getting him closer to the goal, I think would help in some respect, because for the Premier League, no, because it's too much. And he needs a partner up top at striker, right? Now, maybe Garnacho gets pretty narrow with him. But against lower opposition, I think Rashford's fine at striker, where he's going to be definite, like the gap in his speed, his physicality against Barnsley is much bigger than against Premier League center backs, where it's going to be a much tougher battle physically. So it depends on the opposition. Like I would see Rashford as a striker in Europe at times and in lower cup comps for sure. I think he'd be fine. He's fine there, even though I don't prefer it. But let's get him close to the goal and let's get him some more shots. He had one game where he's had shots this year out of 4, and he scores that game, and the other shots were pretty good too. But this is one of the other things where I say where we need to improve. You know, defensively, we've improved our shots per game compared to last year for sure, where it's now 6th. But it's not that much better. Now, this is the thing I wanted to express. Now, it's not sorting. Let's go over here. There was a lot being made of United being top of the list on tackles, but look at who's surrounding them. This is one of those things that where I've mentioned this on the podcast. This is an area we actually need to improve upon. It's a mix, but this isn't a good grouping of. This is not a representation as a stat that you're doing well when you have the most interceptions. If you look at the bottom, this is a better grouping of teams. Now, you'll get weird ones like Southampton, because Southampton try to play good football. They just have bad players. Same with Ipswich, right? But when you get near the bottom, it's better teams do less defensive work because they control the game more. That's just a reality. You don't really want to be at the top. See, us and Everton are at the top of both of these lists, and Everton are terrible. Okay? Now, Arsenal are higher up on this, but look at the gap. I mean, it's a huge gap. 13. It's a significant gap there in terms of the raw numbers. But Arsenal have actually been kind of mediocre this year, in my opinion. They've been actually not so good so far. So, you know, this is an area where we need to improve, because when you look at player stats, this is my worry overall. Once again, where is it? Oh, why is it not showing now? Wait, here we go. Kobbie Mainoo continues to top the stats as a midfielder. I don't think that's a good thing, right? We want to win the ball more, but also less, you know? Like, we want to win it more, but less. Yeah, and I think that it's tricky, right? Like, these are tricky things to look at. You want to be, I don't know why this isn't loading properly, but you know, you don't want to be at the top of all of these things, and you don't necessarily want Kobbie Mainoo to be having to do everything. When you compare, like, we have 3 players in the top here. You know, Gravenberch plays as a 6, right? And that's a center back for Liverpool. But yeah, we need to do a little bit less. We need to do a little bit less at times in order to be it's one of those things you got to look into context, that you need to do a little bit less. Spurs, they don't control games though. I like what they do in attack, but they don't control games. They can be fairly dominant, but they have absolutely zero control out of possession. Out of possession, they're a mess. They're an absolute mess. That's why they're not winning. In possession, sure, but they're out of possession. Spurs are bad. And that's with I kind of rate the way that they play and how they attack the game in possession and all that. But they're straight up bad out of possession. They give up tons of chances, the same as us. And to me, it's just these are the things we have to improve. So, and then there's this too. Unfortunately, we're not the only ones right now, but yeah, we have a few players on the top. Those are all from Liverpool, I think, basically. So these are just things that have to improve, right? Overall, well, that's the other thing. Okay, set pieces here. Hold on. All right, look. We have a very Spursy problem. Look at open play expected goal differential. It's pretty good. Corners, not terrible. Look at set pieces. Now, this is a little bit, it's not a high sample size, but a lot of our conceding we've conceded still too many chances here, but we've created very, very little off of set pieces and direct free kicks, and our opponents have created them off of set pieces. Yeah, there's some positives. One thing I want to say that is a real positive, I really like when I look at this, look at the expected assists per 90. First of all, Christian Eriksen had a monstrous game, and that's a positive and a negative, because when he's not playing, yeah, these are all small samples. There's way too much, but we're analyzing. And my point is, when people bring up a whole bunch of stats, at this point, you can't read into that much. Where you can is that we still give up too many chances. In 4 games in, we still have given up too many chances. But our creation is better. I'm really happy about this. If you look at the expected assists per 90, look at how even it is, right, across the board. Eriksen is on the top, but he's only played 1 game. Rashford is tops otherwise, then Ahmad, then Casemiro, then Bruno, then Dalot, then Garnacho, then Kabi. It's a little bit more even, where the chance creation is probably better. Now, if we look, I got to filter the minutes here for at least like 200 minutes, right? So it doesn't do weird things like that. If you look here, look at these numbers, right? Like our first place was 0.38, fine, but it was Bruno was significantly ahead last season over everybody else. And those numbers are all pretty low. We had, just a few players in the 20s total, right? Per 90. And this year, I think this is a lot. Let's see, I want to just check the previous year because I actually never looked at this. Again, Bruno, way over reliant on Bruno, and Elanga. This is low minutes, right? Sancho was our next best creator, right? Sancho was our next best creator, and that was a good season. But it's over reliance on Bruno Fernandes. When we look at this season so far, again, I have to filter for minutes at least. Like, let's do 50. Look, 0.39 from Rashford in most games. 0.3 from Ahmad. 0.29, 0.25. We have 6-7 players who are creating chances at a higher rate than anybody but Bruno in the past. And Bruno is now middle of the pack. That's a real positive to me because it means as a team, we're spreading the ball more and creating more evenly, where everything does not run through Bruno Fernandes. And I think we are a better team when we play this way, when we play calm, when we play, and look, our wingers' creativity is the best it's been in years out of Rashford and Ahmad creating chances. So far, right? I think we are a better team when more players create chances than one player. That's how I see it. I mean, I could be wrong on this, right? But when you look at a lot of teams, there's a lot of players creating chances in this Liverpool side. Better than us still at the moment. But, Trent, Salah, Diaz, Szoboszlai, Jota, McAllister, all creating chances. when you look at a lot of our seasons before, it was just Bruno, you know? And I think you could argue someone's not wanting to be the main man, but why do you need a main man, right? You know, why do you need that? This is very even, you know, there's a lot of players making chances out of Liverpool. When you look at, I mean, this is a really tiny sample size, so we take that out of the picture. They're making more, but you see, they don't just have one creator, right? Bernardo Silva creates as much as Kevin De Bruyne does, and Doku is creating chances, and Gundogan created chances, and Savio's creating, like, they have a number of players in high ranges. We're getting better at that. If you look at prior years, Bruno would be the only player in these numbers, the only one. Now it's 6 players who are in these numbers of creating goals per game. I think that's important. I think that matters. I think that means something. Erling Haaland is getting the vast majority of these chances, as you can see, for them. So they have a focal point for scoring that maybe we, Garnacho, this is spread out pretty well too. Garnacho, he's missed a few chances, but he's getting there. Xerxes missed a few chances, right? McTominay, this is a very small sample size when he played. Mount, Bruno, one issue is Rashford is all the way down here in his chances that he's getting. He's not receiving anything. He's only creating right now. We need to get him more involved. So I can see why he played at striker today. Try to get him more involved. Obviously, they won't contribute to these stats, but I think those are important things. I think those matter, right? I do think those help you. We need to get more goal scorers involved. But yeah, I like this. This is the biggest positivity. Obviously, this is 1 minute, one key pass. So this is a positive here, that there's this many players creating chances in decent numbers. We need to make more, but that's a real positive. That's something I really like. That's something I like that we're doing. That's something I like that we're seeing. And hopefully, it can continue. We have a lot of players who can create chances in this team, even now, right? And so I like spreading it out. It makes us less one-dimensional in attack. And the more that we do that, we will control games instead of rushing. So, yeah, those are positives. Those are good positives. Those are things that I take away from all of this and say, that's what I like. That's what I like to see. And I hope we see more of that for sure. Yeah. Anyway, so let's hope we have a good game. I'm going to end this in a minute. Go to the link below, sign up for join me on the watch along. It's been a lot of fun, and it's finally not 5:30 in the morning. So I'm excited about being able to do a game where it's not first thing in the morning. But yes, please do come join me. The link is below. Please do all that. But the other thing, as I said, we're going to continue to watch those attacking midfielder things for the future. We're not going down the left. Well, that is correct. You're correct too, right? Because Rashford doesn't have as much fullback support on the left, that's all Understat. Understat is a great website. I think it's the best website to be able to manipulate the numbers and see what you want to look at and all of that in the way. When Rashford's on the left, and we'll see how Garnacho does today. Now, it's much easier competition. But when Rashford's on the left, the lack of fullback support means, of course, that sorry, I didn't have it on the thing. But when Rashford's on the left, the lack of fullback support means he's stuck out wide, a bit more creating to the middle, where with this, you get a bit more on that side. Once a left back comes back, it'll allow Rashford to get into more dangerous areas by having another creator over there. So hopefully Luke Shaw, because this is, hopefully Luke Shaw will actually be back pretty soon. And that, I think, will make a big difference. I think there's a push overall to rotate, right? I think there's a push overall to rotate more, to use a deeper squad, to make players happy. Because, yeah, Mazraoui's been great, and he's helped Amass a lot, and just for natural footing. And we saw when Dalot went to the right, he did the same thing, created a goal. It's about the natural footedness. It's not an insult on Dalot on the left. He just can't provide the same level of support. But yeah, push to rest. I think there's been definitely a change in, like when you look at players not coming back yet and things like that, taking a little longer, a little safer to return. So in the long term, we don't have anything recurring. So, go further and say we would have to move on from Bruno and get 2 center mids and a DM to play better team play. Enjoy, Richie. Have fun. I hope it's a good game. I'm sure we will win. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me ahead of the game. Appreciate that, buddy. But yeah, I think we'll do well. I think it's a good game. I'd like to see how we play. I think that this midfield right now looks pretty good. It's pretty good. Mount's back quicker. He was already injured, right? So he's back quicker. And I think that, there's less recurring things. And yes, fixing them so that they don't keep getting these big issues. I think Shaw will be back. I think Mount will be back, and it's still going to take a week or two to have him into the team. Shaw, I think, will be back in team training maybe in a week or two as well. Maybe by the end of the week. Hoyland by the end of the week. And then Euro, I would say Euro the next international break just to be safe. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out and watching. Yeah, there's the other thing, again, just recapping that, watching these young attacking midfielders and scouting, something to follow for the future. Nypan definitely one to keep an eye on as well. Come join me in the watch along in 40 minutes, and thank you all for hanging out today, and I will see you all later. Have a good one. Enjoy the game.